I am Banjo and I'm 20 years old and I perform under the name of Banjo Lucia. I do music and I sing pretty sad solo piano ballads. Well, listen, let me tell you a little bit about my love language. I'm big words. Like, words takes the cake for me any day of the week. Just tell me. It's obvious to me. And then second to words is actually quality time for me. And then third to that is physical affection. I feel like my intimate relationships are kind of often a space where I can get all the things that I'm not getting in all of my other relationships. There's more of a kind of flexibility between the big spoon and little spoon that I can get in those intimate relationships. But I guess when I'm interacting with the world, I find it the easiest to kind of slip into bigger spoon patterns, in that if we're looking at big spoon as like being comforting and kind of trying to help create a safe space, which I really f***ing love doing that. And I get energy from being able to feel like I'm helping people.
Probably not singing.
Yeah, oh man, I'm a dumper. I love it. As long as someone's okay to be dumped on, I'm like, thrive off that like vulnerability. My family was very, very deep chatters, like sit at the dinner table and just dig into the emotional turbulence of the day, whatever it was. What I've learnt the last couple of years is that it's important to check with other people what capacity they have for taking on your shit, because everyone's different and some people have a lot of kind of emotional strength and emotional capacity to take on shit or listen to shit, receive without it becoming a burden. But for other people it can be really exhausting, and at different times it can be really exhausting for people. And so there's definitely times that I dumped, that I was like, used someone as an emotional outlet and vented my feelings to people without actually checking if that was cool with them and that was what they wanted. And I think it's not safe to assume that everyone is constantly ready to take on or hear your. So yeah, definitely there's times that I regret being vulnerable in that sense. I've definitely maybe asked personal questions to people that I maybe were a bit jarred by it and maybe didn't know me well enough. Felt the need to follow them with, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. Yeah, it's a fine line, I think, between pushing someone's privacy boundaries and being interested in someone. But I think it's really important to respect that people have their own like timelines with relationships and their own boundaries with what they feel like they can talk about. And that's not a reflection of emotional maturity or emotional flexibility. It's actually just a personal. I'm still learning to feel like I have a connection with myself, and like a room inside my brain that's like lined with sheepskin rugs. It's comfy and it's got armchairs and I can just have an honest conversation with myself about what's going on, and it's just mine. And sometimes I feel like that room is so there and so accessible and I know how to open the door handle, and other times I'm like, was it the third one on the right? Like, who the am I? What the fuck is going on right now? And that's, really influenced by I'm pretty wrapped up in other people's perceptions of me.
Words spill from your mouth like
there's this whole idea that you have to be single to find yourself. I think that can be really true and really potent in so many different situations, and really some of the most introspective revelations I've had have been prompted by a partnership, and some of the most astoundingly alone that I felt has been in a partnership, and the most growth I've had has been in partnerships. Like, there is so much room to find yourself with another person walking parallel to you. But it is important to do it intentionally and to go into it being like, we can eat from the same loaf but not the same slice of bread kind of thing. We both really like a song at the moment called Lebanon by Ondara, and it's not particularly lyrically or musically floral, but it's just got a really nice, steady, homely vibe to it, and we both really love it. I love singing it, or listening to it in the car with her with the windows down. So maybe that's not for now. I think time earns trust, and actions earns trust. I'm big on integrity. My mum, when I was a kid, like from 2 onwards every day, she'd be like, Banjo, what's the definition of integrity? I'd be like, it's doing what you say you're gonna do to the best of your ability. And like that was just my So I think the thing that makes me trust people the most is like just rocking up, and whether that's like, hey, I'm gonna do this on the way home from work, and then they do it. It's just like, oh, cool. Like your word is important. With intimate relationships, it's just really about taking time, but not taking time in the way of, I need to get 3 hours to myself every week, that I just hang out with myself. It's about taking time in the micro moments to check what you feel like. Do you want to do this afternoon? And just being like, I don't have to answer in a millisecond. I can be like, I feel like, yeah, I feel like that. That'd be really fun. Or I actually am feeling really social. I think I'm gonna hit up a friend and see what they're doing. You're welcome to come. I think that there's really something to say about training your brain muscles to just take an extra second to think about what you want. Trains your brain to know what you feel like a bit more.
What's one small way that you can be a better pup at the moment?
You can get really wrapped up in what a relationship should look like, how it should be going, how I want it to be, and sometimes that really blocks me from being able to see just the experience of my partner, just being present to whatever that is. I think I let what I think other people's opinions might be into my relationship, and my relationship is a place where other people's opinions or my perception of other people's opinions is completely not welcome, unless it's, toxic or, someone's looking out for me. I reckon I could be better at not worrying about how it should be or how it's supposed to be, or if I'm being done wrong or they're being done wrong, and just let moments be what the moments are, which is, as simple as, oh, is it too soon to do this thing? Was it too quick to say that thing? Was it, oh, should we be doing this? And it's just exhausting, and it's stupid, and it's just it's not welcome. It's not welcome. It's none of anyone else's business, and it's especially not the business of what I think other people might think.
I've seen your shoulders in the ocean.
How does your personal relationships affect the way you express yourself through music?
Oh, that's a great question. The way that I interact with the world is very people-pleasy, for whatever reason that is. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I don't want anyone to not like me. I don't want to come off as rude. I'm very conflict nervous and conflict averse. So the way that I interact with, a lot of my friends and my past partners has been really influenced by that, being anti-conflict. And I think music always has felt like a space where I could dig into whatever the feelings were safely, address something with as much anger and sadness and grief that I felt about the situation without the fear of that kind of conflict kickback, because you can isolate the situation, or you can isolate the emotion and build a story off that. And whenever I've written songs about other people or situations that other people are in, I've always explained to them hey, I've made a story based on that feeling, or I've taken what I felt, I've taken that moment, I wanted to make a song out of it. And so it's not necessarily reflective of how I feel about you. It's reflective of that thing. The times that I've been able to express, especially anger, I'm not really good at expressing my anger, but the times that I've been able to express my anger the most potently and satisfyingly has been through song.
What do you think about being in a long-term relationship during formative years?
I think what you actually think about it has really no impact on it. If you're in love with someone, you're probably going to be with them. I think formative years are going to form you no matter what. They're formative years. They don't get any less formative. Fuck the idea that there's formative years and non-formative years. You're going to keep changing, and it's going to be great, and it's going to happen no matter what, whether you have a partner or not. It's Absolutely lovely. I stayed there 7 nights a week anyway beforehand, and I really like how we work together. I really love the home that she lives in, that I live in now too, and